The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome back to another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. I am here with my co-host Jacqueline Smith, and my name is Ryan Park Greigg. And as always, the mission behind this podcast is to introduce you to a system that will allow you to increase your energy and reduce your stress. It's called the 15-Point Plan, created by our business partner, Ben Kinney. So this 15-Point Plan gives you 15 different points that when we do each one of those, it increases our energy, reduces our stress, and hopefully allows life to go a little bit easier, our success to come a little bit more, and our happiness to ultimately be at the highest level possible. But today is a fun topic, Jacqueline. We've had some heavy topics over the last couple of weeks. We've talked about change. We've talked about why people don't change. We've talked about stress management. We talked with Via Williams, who just did that 29-0-29, which was this incredible event. So we've talked a lot about heavy stuff lately, and we're going to switch gears today, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite points on the plan, and maybe the most overlooked, Jacqueline, and that plan is laughter. We're here to talk about laughter today. So cue the laughing.
Ha 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 ha.
That worked. I think that worked, Jacqueline. But today we're talking about laughter, the benefits that laughter brings into our life, how we can get more of it in our lives, and what it will do for our energy and reduction of stress, right?
Yes. Okay, but we have to start it off with a super cheesy joke.
Let's hear it, Jacqueline.
It's funny that we're doing this because this is actually one of the things I like to do is I like to pull up my Facebook memories and I look back, at my things I've posted in the past. And some of them are like super cringy. Like, oh my gosh. And then some of them are funny. And I actually looked this morning and there was a funny joke that I had posted a few years ago. So here goes. So Ryan, this friend of mine, he told me that he had to quit his construction job because he was not strong enough. He was just too weak. So you know what I asked him?
What, Jacqueline?
I asked him, did you give them your 2-week notice?
Oh my God. That was it.
Bing, bada boom.
Bam. And so, we won't get into what happened with my day over the last 4 hours of waking up, but none of that matters anymore because I just changed my entire physiology with a simple little joke. Mm-hmm. And that's the power of laughter. And one of the reasons that I think I said that it's overlooked, Jacqueline, is because it's simple, it's easy to do. But if you're like me, we take life pretty dang serious sometimes, and maybe too serious, and especially in business or especially with growth or especially with whatever. And I just forget to laugh sometimes, or I think I'm not allowed to, maybe even. I think, Jacqueline, I can't laugh. This is serious. Like life is serious. And I was listening to Ed Milet a while ago talking about this subject, and Ed mentioned he's 53 years old, and it was just this last month that he really scheduled laughter into his life and what that has done for him. So my question is, how are we scheduling happiness and laughter into our life? Because we know that, well, I think in general, Jacqueline, the more we laugh, the more happiness that we have. Mm-hmm. And the more happiness that we have in our life, to me, happiness is a direct measure of success. There's a lot of other measurements of success, but ultimately, if you look at success, I just want to be happy. So bringing more laughter into our life hopefully can bring more success into our life and reverse that. And there's a ton of benefits to it. But I think a reason that people don't laugh as much as they should or could is because they're like me and we forget to, and it's just not scheduled. So my question to propose to our listeners is, how can we schedule laughter throughout our day? How can we find more laughter, which will bring us more happiness, which brings us more connection to our community? Mm-hmm. So what goes through your head, Jacqueline, when we talk about scheduling laughter?
Well, first of all, I'm thinking if you have to schedule in laughter, you need to get some more funny, fun friends around you, because I don't know. I find myself laughing all the time. And I know I'm really lucky because I have people around me that make me laugh. My husband makes me laugh. People I work with make me laugh. Like we were laughing at our morning meeting this morning. And I think sometimes maybe we need we need a reminder just to lighten up, like you said. But I remember reading this book called The Happiness Advantage a few years ago. And I think the takeaway was just that your mood and your happiness actually gives you a competitive advantage in business.
Mm.
And I always think of the saying, like, people always think that they'll be happy once they like reach certain goals, once they get to a certain weight, or once they get to a certain point in their business. But it's actually the opposite, right? People think they'll be happy once they're successful, but successful people are typically happier people. Not always. I know we're really generalizing here, but the people that I know that are more successful, they just kind of take life like not so seriously. And maybe I guess what comes to mind is a little bit of what like Brendan Burchard talks about with when he talks about his near death experience and how it
Mm.
kind of put things into perspective for him. Well, when my husband and I first got married, we just had a lot of hard things. Like we had a lot of deaths in the family, and I think what watching him and his family, like how they handled all that, I realized like I did take life too seriously. And I just decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I mean, life is short, there's so much good. And if you really are tuned into and focused on the good, like it shouldn't be super hard to be happy and to laugh more. Like I used to always choose like the depressing music or like the serious movies and maybe I'm lucky that I have a husband that likes to have fun and like we watch funny things and they're kind of dumb, you know, like my joke was kind of silly, but like it makes you laugh and we don't always have to be so focused on like everything wrong. We can like focus on what's right and have fun and laugh a little or laugh a lot.
I think you bring up a really good point, Jacqueline. You make me you make me think specifically about me because I I am a lighthearted person and I like to have a lot of fun. But when I think about this topic and I think about scheduling it in there,
Mhm.
I think you nailed that. I love how you said it's competitive advantage because what I heard is when whatever business that you're in, the happier you are,
Mhm.
well, look at the opposite side, the less stress you're going to have. The higher stress you have in whatever business you are. Now, there's good stresses, of course, but when we're
Mhm.
out of our brain and we're out of our flow because of stress, no matter what business you're in, you're not going to be at that highest level.
Mhm.
So using that as a way to say, hey, the happier I am, the more I laugh, the more I take life a little lighthearted, then
Mhm.
I have this competitive advantage because nothing's going to really rock me as much as it could. And it's like the water off the duck's back. The happier you are, the more lighthearted you are, the heavier things can come into your life, and you can just, oh, well, shoot, like that's not going to stay with me forever.
Mhm.
And let me just laugh it off sometimes. So I heard you loud and clear on that of taking life a little less serious. It's something I'm working on this year, really. But I'm with you. And I guess where I look at the scheduling of the laughter is a couple times a week I get home and I go, I need to put on a funny movie right now, a tune out
Yes.
movie. No real major brain work, but I just want to freaking laugh. And there's a
Mhm.
million of them out there, right?
Mhm.
If you're a listener and you have a favorite dumb, funny movie, will you please text it to Jacqueline or myself or share it with us on Instagram, Jacqueline Ray Smith, Ryan Park, Greigg, because those things are so important to have and everybody's got one. And you pop it on for a half hour and you get that laugh and you're good.
Yeah.
So schedule that in. But what I'm also hearing, Jacqueline, is the more we take life a little less serious, the more happy we are, the more our energy is in that right in that positive place. And it's like simple mathematics. We know that a negative plus a negative equals a negative. A negative plus a positive equals a negative. But a positive plus a positive equals a positive. So if we have negative thoughts in our brain, we are going to attract more negative things into our life.
Yeah. And I think you're right. Like if you're finding yourself that you're just in a place where you're like, wow, I'm not laughing, I'm not having fun anymore in my day to day, then I guess maybe you would have to schedule that in and like actually force yourself to laugh because it's kind of like a cycle, right? Like if you're taking things too seriously and you're super stressed and exhausted, then you're not laughing, but laughing itself releases endorphins, which, right, counteract stress
Hmm.
hormones. And so if you're not laughing because you're too stressed out, then you're not getting that natural like boost of positive endorphins that then actually fight stress. So it's like you're perpetuating it by not laughing. Um, so yeah, you do need to schedule some time in then purposely to do that.
Yeah, it's a release of endorphins. It causes our cortisol levels to drop. And Jacqueline, you've been there where Ben will do something like this. We'll be in a room of 100 people,
Oh my gosh.
500 people, and it's super serious. And Ben goes, "All right, everybody, we're going to laugh for 30 seconds." And people like look around, they're like, we're like, I'm going to like just purposely laugh right now. Like, that's
Yeah,
hard.
it's
And
so weird.
it's super awkward. It's super weird. Everybody looks around like, Ben, are you serious, dude? Like, you're going to schedule us to laugh right now?
Mhm.
But then what happens?
You start laughing at your laughing.
Ben is up there, who is, my mentor and a person that I look up to. He's looking like a total just buffoon up there, laughing his butt off. Sorry, Ben. He's laughing his butt off. Everybody's on stage laughing, and now everybody in the crowd is laughing. And so
Yeah.
Ed and Ben do this thing where they take themselves not so serious. They can laugh at themselves too. They're not sabotage self-talking, but they can laugh at themselves to encourage others to laugh. And next thing we know, 15 seconds in, a room of hundreds of people are laughing. And when we stop that, it's almost like I just walked out of the gym. It's
Mhm.
like I have goosebumps. My energy is through the roof.
Mhm.
And so try it. If you can't go watch a movie, or you can't listen to some comedy, and you're just in that zone of, I'm a little negative right now, my stress is a little high right now, just go outside and just fake the laugh. Because if you fake a laugh for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, it's going to bring it out in you, and you're going to just start laughing. And then just remember Jacqueline's joke, and you'll get that extra minute because you sent in your 2 week notice.
Yes. I think that it's so by the way, I was on one of those stages in Portland years and years ago, and Ben was teaching a class here, and he made us do that, and I got called up onto the stage, and I had to laugh like a silly person in front of everyone, but, um, I just think that there's times where it's kinda like, when your diet starts slipping and
Mm,
you don't really notice, and then until it's, like, really bad, like, you kind of just, like, one little thing at a time, like some sugar here, this and that there, or you skip your workouts, and, like, before you know it, like, you don't just, like, wake up overnight and, like, your health has been compromised, right? It's a series of things over time, and so I think that the same thing happens with our mood and our stress and our laughter. It's just over time, we just have a stressful day, and we
yeah.
have another stressful, and then it perpetuates itself, and it's challenging. There's been times in my life where I've had to go through and do what I've called like a negativity detox,
Mm,
because you start getting into this habit where what you talk about is all the things that are wrong, what you think about, right, and who you're around. You usually then hang out with people who let you, and commiserate with you and talk about all the negative things, and before you know it, it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you just
yeah.
perpetuate it and perpetuate it and perpetuate it. So you have to break the cycle sometimes, just like you do a cleanse, once in a while when you want to get your health back on track or whatever. Same thing, like cleanse like negativity, 30 days, like
Mm,
no complaining, and track it. I've done that multiple times in my life. And like, what do you replace complaining with? Well, what are you going to talk about? You know? Are you just gonna not talk? So, you replace it with focusing on the positive things instead of on the negative things. So, like, what are the things that I'm thankful for today? You practice gratitude. What are the things I can do to lighten the mood instead of, like,
mhm.
miserating in my mood? Uh, we've talked about this on a previous episode. Pedro, he's a friend of ours in Miami, and his hobby, he loves stand-up comedy. So he watches Seinfeld, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Well, you cannot watch Seinfeld without laughing.
Right.
And so he gets his hobby point and he gets his laughter point. So how can you infuse laughter, and you might need to stop hanging out with certain people for during your cleanse, right?
Mm,
Find people that make you laugh, find people that focus on the positive, and you will automatically do that. Just like If you hang around with fit people, you're probably going to be more fit. If you hang around with wealthy people, you're probably going to build more wealth. You hang around with people that have great marriages, you're probably going to have great marriage, right? And it's the same thing. If you want to be in a good mood, don't hang around with negative people. Sorry, Nancy's, but negative Nancy's, you know, don't hang around with them. How are you expecting that you're going to be positive and have fun and laugh if you're around people who are constantly complaining and negative?
And you know, you can check that, and you nailed it, Jacqueline, because you can check 2 boxes from the plan by doing that. You can check the influence box,
Yes.
making sure that we're eliminating that negative energy that's in our life, and then you can check the laughter box. And I love how you said that, like a 30-day challenge. But this is a 30-day challenge of just no negative talk. You know, a lot of times I write in my journal every morning, and one of the things that I write is my intentions for the day. And one thing that I notice myself writing often is I only use positive language. That's my reminder to myself. I only use positive language. And Jolene and I were just talking about this, and Jesse Itzler said our words matter. Every single word and how we say them matters. So if I tell myself in the morning, I only use positive language, can I make sure every conversation throughout my day is something that will uplift somebody, that will make somebody laugh, that will bring them up to being their best self? So try it. Try it for 30 days. Can you go 30 days without complaining? Can you go 30 days only using positive language? Can you go 30 days with eliminating any negative influences from your life? I guarantee you are going to laugh more, which will boost your energy more, which will reduce your stress, and you're just going to feel a little bit better.
Absolutely. Good.
WinMakeGive.com has all of our other podcasts, the 15-Point Plan podcast, the No Days Off podcast, tons of valuable information at WinMakeGive.com. So stop by there and check out all of our other podcast networks. And don't forget to share this podcast with anybody that might find it valuable, like and subscribe. And if you've got any questions or shares, shoot Jacqueline or I a message either on Instagram or on all social media accounts, Jacqueline Ray Smith, RAE, and Ryan Park Greigg. Jacqueline, final words for our listeners.
I wish I had like an even better joke to finish this off with, but I need some more jokes. So send me your jokes and send us your favorite funny movie. That's all I got. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.